Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. You've caught us on the night of guilty pleasures. Welcome to Beyond Your Radio. I'm your host, Mark Kulagowski. Panelists' favorite show. We're calling this Albums You Would Not Believe We Love. And why am I not using the guilty pleasures thing as much? I will later. I think there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. That's my opinion. It's just these kind of things, right? These are the albums you might be embarrassed to play around certain people. Maybe it's an album that fits your persona not so well, not in your groove. Whether can be a radio darling or it can be some out of tune, nonsensical, displaced recording. Our panelists are here and they're going to share openly and fearlessly. So please, if you haven't done so, click fearlessly on subscribe because that's the only way you're going to continue this guilty pleasure beyond your radio. And subscribe, gives you that ability to the rest of our shows. We'd love for you to tell us your guilty pleasure. No, stop. Your guilty listening pleasure, maybe. Okay, yes, keep it to that. I don't want any weird comments that I haven't already made.
Please.
So get in on the comments and please hit the like button because that stirs the algorithm and makes us pleasurable. I can't wait to see where this goes. So on the panel tonight, the woman who knows my guilty pleasure. Wait a minute, didn't say that right either.
This is getting weird.
It's getting weird.
Yes. We're
Poor
in
Everett.
for lacrosse. Then there's this guy who seeks out new guilty pleasures all wherever he can. Jeff Young from Florida, who just had a guilty pleasure with us and had dinner. So thanks for showing up for that. She's been found by a jury of her peers to be guilty on all accounts of pleasure. Damn, Deb Armitage.
Yeah, my life is
guilty of being sexy.
so pleasurable.
Oh.
And a young man who's too young for any guilty pleasure, but he's going to stun us all tonight.
Yeah.
Everett James from Hawaii.
Hi, Everett.
Help me.
Help me.
Here against my will.
I wasted my youth with a bunch of old people.
That'll be whenever I come into meetings from now on, I'm just gonna have that as my ringtone. Whenever I'm calling you, I have all your phone numbers one day and I'll be like, Everett James is calling you. And I'll just start playing that song. Great.
All right, so
yeah,
you got 5 albums and why they are this album that nobody would know that you loved or be surprised that you love. So we'll start with Deb. What's your number 5?
All right. Well, I didn't know, there's no particular order, but the way I did mine was probably earliest to most current. And I chose this album because it was the first one that I bought for myself. So it was really an album that I wasn't per se influenced directly by somebody else, like the Beatles by my cousins or something by one of my parents, but it's the Basic City Rollers Rolling from 1974. And I would stay up all night long with my transistor radio, switching between 3 different stations, just hoping somebody would play Saturday night. It's interesting though, because I hadn't listened to the album in quite some time, but as soon as I put it back on, I went, oh my gosh, I know every single song. I know all the words. But it's interesting I even surprised myself that I like it, re-listening to it, because it's got a lot of 50s influences. There's a cover of Be My Baby. And I think that's a 50s ladies group saying don't ask me to sing. I'm pretty sure it's a cover.
Yeah.
Like the Shondells or somebody. It just seems would be from somebody like that. Then there's Ain't It Strange is a song that sounds very 60s like. And I guess the Bay City Rollers formed in 1964, but they really didn't hit the American scene until the mid 70s. So it makes sense and they were in their mid 20s by the time Saturday Night was a hit. So they really got their influences from the 50s, from when they were growing up. Um, Interesting enough, though, when I re-listened to it, there's a couple songs that at the very beginning, you're just thinking the Dropkick Murphys are gonna come
So
into play, but
you're
they're
saying
too
it's a hit
bubblegum-like.
time.
So there's a little and then it's Bay City Rollers all the way. So there's a little hint of something fun to be had, but they were known as the Tartan Teen Sensations by wearing their Scottish whatever. The tartan is what from their clan, and they
Yeah, I
wore
would say
those. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
So that was my
Planet is
guilty
something.
pleasure. Yeah, clan of the. So I
Good
don't know
start.
where they got their name, Bay City Rollers. I think when I was young, I thought they were from San Francisco.
I mean, that would
I
make
thought they were a
sense.
roller skating team when it was
That
first hit.
too. So that was mine.
Cool. Sue?
Well, and oddly enough, because Deb and I always have musical connections, the
Uh-oh.
Bay City Rollers are, I was 2 in 1974, and that's my first musical memory is being in the upstairs bedroom and my sister's playing that. So I
Really?
don't remember much, I just remember it. Yeah.
Look at
very
that.
Weird. So I don't have an order either. I'm just gonna go with my number 5, and I'm not embarrassed, and I don't think it's weird. But Journey Escape,
Oh,
it's just a classic, good
yep.
album that, I think I've loved from the start, and I think it's still good, and I could listen to it tonight, tomorrow, and in 50 more years. So
That was one of the first cassettes that my brother had.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
and the cover's cool too.
The station.
Yes.
Well, I mean, isn't that just Journey's whole thing? Just covers? Like I know kids my age and younger that have Journey shirts. And they don't know Journey at all besides like Don't Stop Believing. And they're like, look how cool this cover is. And I'm like, yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Is it the same person who did the ELO covers? Did the Journey cover? Kind of has the
Maybe.
same kind of style and feature. But
Kinda.
yeah, don't stop believing. Oh yeah.
I love it.
Mr. Young.
I went with the second album of this artist, and it is the first rap album to be released on CD. King of Rock by Run DMC, 1985.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't expect that.
First year of junior high. But the album name was outrageous because they were already kings of rap, but to call it Kings of Rock, I think helped to propel them to get onto rock stations, even though they did. It was the first time they actually introduced any, heavier type guitar sound in anything rap. So they were kind of like leading the way on that. But yeah, I was into a lot of that kind of stuff when I was younger, and I just mostly picked that because I was trying to think what's something I listened to a lot of when I was younger, but don't really listen to as much now. But if it's on, I'm still definitely going to listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
kind of the old movies when it's on TV, you can't flip the channel, you got to watch some of it. So
Yeah.
that's but yeah, they had like some of their singles were like "You Talk Too Much," Jam Master Jammin', King of Rock, of course, and then "Can You Rock It Like This." So definitely good
That's
stuff.
a fun one. Yeah.
I don't know if I've listened to that whole record all the way through. I'm gonna go back. Pretty sure I haven't. Everett, what is your number 5?
All right, for my number 5 of weird-ish albums, I had to go with the man who has weird in his name, Mr. Weird Al Yankovic.
I thought of doing that too.
Yes,
I picked one of his newer albums, Mandatory Fun. It's
Man.
just
That's
I
so
think it's
great.
2011, and there's just like a couple of really good songs that I've heard. There's like I think there's Word Crimes on it, and I mean, of course, they're all parodies, and a lot of the songs I know. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great because it's like, but it's not necessarily a song something I would listen to with everybody.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is kind of my thing. It's kind of one of those things that like me and my sister and brother can just sit there and just spout these lines at each other, and the other person will do the other one.
Yeah, right.
We can
Yep.
we can do Albuquerque all the way through almost. It's wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Which I know
Okay.
is an entirely different album, but for the first
So,
time.
so you're heavily into polka again?
No, not really.
Accordion.
No, I can take it about as much as there is in a Weird Al album. That's about
That's
where I
it.
draw the line.
There is a radio station in Buffalo that on Sunday nights, or is it Sunday all day? I think it might be Sunday all day. It's polka.
That
I
sounds about right for Buffalo.
That is, you know, we have a huge community of it. I just, were there enough polka bands to go through that many hours? I just don't know. That's
Probably
an
not. It's
interesting-
probably like the same 5 songs on repeat.
That one time when I went to the movies at the AMC, and it was to see Batman with Michael Keaton. Or no, we went to see some other movie, but Weird Al was there in town because he was playing at Melody Fair, and he was actually going in to see Batman. We didn't
No
say hi.
way.
It was, you cannot it's impossible to not
No,
recognize.
I mean, you know,
there's only one Al.
seriously.
That's great.
Daniel Radcliffe can try all he wants. It's not weird. It's not.
I didn't see that. Did you see it?
No, but Jeff saw it, and Jeff didn't have the nicest things to say about it. I don't know though. I haven't seen it. I'm
Yeah,
just citing what Jeff said.
I wanted to check it out, but I haven't.
I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical.
Yeah, that's about how
Skeptical.
I feel. Skepticals.
I'm skeptical.
I don't
Sounds
think
like
you
it's
were
very
out.
true to life.
You were
There's
out
a
with
pill.
those kids.
There's a pill for that. So I'm going to start off mine with a Latin tinged pop, and that's going to be Enrique Iglesias' Escape. Every time I put that on, I never really thought it would be that good. It's so catchy, and the production is playfully matching that kind of style. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got ballads on there and stuff, but I thought I finally had found a Latin record that wasn't Santana. You know, that was kind of only Latin I had experience with. So
Yeah.
having this young man sing, his vocals are really, really good. They're put forth really well. I think Santana and the Herb Albert Tijuana brass band would be the only other one that I could say would have Latin tinge at that point. But yeah, it's a road trip kind of album too, if you play it. On this, by the way, on this last road trip from Maryland on the way back, I played every one of these albums except one for Lauren on the ride home. She's still recovering. So
Well, if she was a better
Sense-
child, she was punished like that.
Send flowers. Rest in
Deb,
peace.
number 4.
Okay, I have no idea. The next 2 albums, I have no idea exactly why I picked them, just that they came to my mind right away. And it is because I do listen to them every now and then. And then when I refreshed my memory, I went, yeah, that's why I like them. But Boz Scaggs, Silk Degrees from 1974, I believe. And Boz Scaggs was with Steve Miller Band for a while. Right?
Yep.
And I love Steve Miller Band. I don't know particularly. I'm assuming it was a boy I liked, like this band. That's usually what would happen at that age when you're about 14. But there's great songs on there. Lido, Lowdown. If you heard them, you would know them. It's just happy. Like there's no sadness about it. You don't have to overthink. You don't even really care what the words are. The music is just fun. And the one song that I really super like, and it wasn't one of his hits, but it was Jump Street. It's very honky tonk sounding. And you don't hear honky tonk in a lot of pop type stuff. And I don't even know what happened to Boz. Do you know, Mark? Is he alive?
Well, Boz is still producing albums.
Wow.
When we were doing that Meal to Music last time for Beyond Your Radio, when Jeff came, to
Yeah.
town. Boz Scaggs had just released a new album that year. It was a really good jazz
Really?
kind of like, well, jazz blues, very smoky. It was great. It was a great record. I think recently just did one too, not in the same wheelhouse, but yeah, he's still active,
Interesting.
still doing really well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't even know much about him. I didn't know until now that he was with Steve Miller Band. Like,
Yeah.
it was my part of my little moment of research to make it sound
And
valid as to why I like.
two completely separate kind of band, that band
Yep.
and totally
Yep.
different.
Yeah, but that's what's interesting.
Yeah. Sue, 4.
So I went with the Bangles Different Light.
Oh, that's
I-
fun.
They are, well, yeah, that's a really fun album. And I know they played like Walk Like an Egyptian every 2 minutes for about a decade, but they're
Yeah.
such a super band, and for a girl band back then,
Mhm.
totally didn't get enough recognition for a lot of their other songs that didn't get radio play. There's a lot of good guitar work, a lot of really meaningful lyrics. So and who was the lead singer?
Susanna Hoff.
Yeah, but
Oh
she's not very-
yeah, Susanna. Yeah.
the guitarist, and I can't think of her name. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Michelle. Really talented. She's got a deeper voice, and she just brings a different texture to the group. But yeah, they just came out in the wrong time, I think. But
Yeah, there was a turning of the guard of what music, pop, rock,
yeah,
metal was. Yeah, it's a
Metal and Madonna
oh my
at
god.
that time. But
Mm,
talented band, good
Metal
album.
Donna.
Metal
Was that the
Metal.
late 80s? Was it late 80s? Was that?
Yeah, probably
I
88.
think, yeah, like mid-80s, late 80s.
Mhm.
Was it like, yeah, because then I'm gonna get Cyndi Lauper in there
Well,
too.
then there was the Eternal
Yeah.
Flame album, which came out, but that was
Was
not
it?
on this one.
Right. No, that's a good
Well,
one though.
one of the best songs written for a movie, I think, is Hazy Shade of Winter from Less Than
Oh.
Zero. Great song. Really it fit
Oh
the mood,
God, yes.
wicked little tune. And it kind of was a step more rock up than, you know what I mean? It's a little
Mhm.
punchier than.
Yeah.
Good pick. It was
Mhm.
in my thought process too. And it was funny because you mentioned,
The
Susan.
Bangles were in your thought process?
Yeah, they were definitely there because I was thinking of Matthew Sweet
Definitely
and
weird.
Matthew Sweet and
Yeah, for Mark.
Susanna Hoff have done things together. So that's how
Oh, suit your face. Skepticism, I
See,
see.
this is how we give people 3D. Now what we need is we need to have like Jeff here, who's the metal man, give us something like the B-52s. We need
yeah,
to
right.
like really
Actually,
just
I
like
have
blow us away.
I have his list. I think he did send it to me.
That'd be
I'll-
interesting. You
I
have to
will-
throw them in then, yes.
I will
Sprinkle them
rattle
in.
it. Yeah, I will rattle it off here, and I'm pretty shared.
Yeah,
right?
that's
He shared with me. See, now I'm doing this, and now it's
because
not
of all
there.
of us, he should have some really surprising ones if he wants to admit what's going on in his life, but he might want to keep it a secret.
Poor Jeff. Just know that we like you, Jeff. You're good, Jeff. Jeff.
Yeah, I'll look back. I'll
Okay.
find it. I'll find it. So go on.
Okay,
to
that'll be
yeah.
interesting. All right, Jeff.
So I picked this artist's third album, and it's from 1985. Actually, it's from 1986. No, it's from 85. So it's Sports from Huey Lewis on the News.
Oh my gosh.
Huey! That's great.
It was the second biggest album on Billboard's 1985 end of year chart, behind Michael Jackson's Thriller. And
Well,
I
that's
just
pretty hard one to
remember
beat.
that it was like, I thought about it because it was something like you always heard. I didn't actually ever, I don't think, own it, but it was always on the radio. Like there was like literally at least 5 singles off of it that were just like boom. And what's funny too is if you remember, like in Back to the Future movie, in Martin McFly's bedroom, he's got a Huey Lewis News sports poster back. And Huey Lewis was in the movie. He was one of the the judges in the talent competition, or whatever. for
Yes,
their
he was.
He was?
What did he say? He said they were too loud, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And what's good about some of these songs I'm picking too is I think one reason I'm picking them is it's actually as a change of pace for me. Is there's songs that, well, maybe not the Run DMC one, but this one is like one of those ones that could come out in the car. It could be contemporary, and yet my parents wouldn't want to turn the channel. Like they would enjoy it too.
Yes. Yep. That's a fun one.
Joyce. Everett, you're next.
All right. For my number 3 or 4?
4.
4. All right. I am gonna do the album that sings about a mercenary in Biafra, running from the law, and Werewolves of London. Warren
Oh.
Zevon's Excitable
No
Boy.
way.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, you belong with us, but
Yeah,
it's
you
so
do.
nice.
Yeah. I'm actually listening to it now also because
London's Calling. Oh my God, Warren.
no, that's
That's
the
awesome.
Clash. That's the Clash.
No, not the Clash album.
No, she said London, but whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
That it's one of those like I had known Werewolves of London for a long while because it's one of those songs that like comes up in a movie every now and then, and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
that's kind of fun. Like, and it was just one of those where it's like, oh, that's kind of funny. But then a couple of weeks ago, I was like just listening through, and I had like my radio station, which is just like music we think you might like from YouTube music playing, and Lawyers, Guns, and Money came on, and I was just like, whoa, what is that? Because you've got like the crazy the guitar going, you got some fun drum parts, and the lyrics are just always funny. They're always somehow comical, and it's funny because like all of his songs have like a somewhat light, upbeat, kind of happy tone to them sometimes, but they're about like the darkest things ever. Like Excitable Boy, like it's like he's an excited, and it's just like this happy, 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 and then it's like, and then he murdered this lady, and it was like,
Yeah.
you're like, what?
But with a smile on his face.
Yeah, and you're like, what? And it's just
Yeah.
one of those where you're like, I would rather keep this to myself and just, and like, there was probably like a solid 2 weeks there where I played one of the songs, like either Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner or Lawyers, Guns, and Monies. I just played that because I was like, oh, these are fun,
The FBI
And
has
I
a
really
special
like
people bought that
what?
album.
What? Sorry,
Yeah,
say that.
the FBI.
Makes sense.
So
I really
yeah,
like the piano intro to Rolling the Headless Thompson Gunner. Just like that one's just kind of like da 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 da. That's terrible, but
Oh, that was good.
I'm gonna put that as my number 4.
I like
I
it.
honestly say that's a great
Interesting.
pick because that's a really good album for that kind of thing. It's got mystique to it. It's odd, and he's written some. He might be the one individual that I don't think ever got any notoriety. That how good a songwriter he, it's his daughter, right? That's I think her name now.
Let me look it up.
Uh,
Jordan Zevon? That's his son, though.
yeah, maybe. Yeah,
That's
she
his
was.
son is Jordan. That's
Yeah,
his son.
Jordan's Zevon. Zevon? Yeah,
Jordan
Warren Zevon.
Zevon. Yeah, Jordan. See, I thought it
Also,
was.
but everybody knows his name. There must be something else that he did. Did he do soundtracks? Did he do?
I think
mean,
I
how
think
do
it's
we
Werewolves
only
of
know
London.
his name from what?
Werewolves
Well,
of
it's
London is
basically-
what everything.
Is that
Werewolves
it?
of London is,
It's
but
just it.
I don't know. I think in Europe, I think he had a bigger
That's what
draw
I'm
there.
thinking.
I don't think he did here. I got to know more of him because Rob Dickinson from Catherine Wheel covered his song Mutineer. Not only once, but twice on his record Fresh Wine for the Horses. So I went back to the catalog. I'm like, oh my God, that's the guy who wrote Werewolves of London. And and that record though is the standout of all, I think, no question. So
Interesting.
really. So here are Grateful Dudes. Number 5 is Earth, Wind and Fire's The Need of Love.
I almost picked up Players one.
And his
That's
number
okay.
4 was the Yellow Jackets. So kind of an avant-garde kind of pick there in the jazz motif, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know much.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
So, all right. So having done that, I'll come back to his in a second, or when we go back around again. So when it comes to cheese and your metal, you could go with Jackal, but I didn't. Which I can, say falls into a pile of stuff that I had that works in that range. But this band definitely knew how to make a radio-friendly song and make it up quick. And that would be Warrant's Cherry Pie.
Oh my God.
The lead song is so bad, it's good, right? All right. And they're just, what rhymes with water? I don't know. Daughter, I don't know. Just this dumb rhyming, right?
Just
The
put a
other
different letter
ballad
instead of
though,
W.
yeah,
I
the
just gotta
bomb.
say, the model in that video is amazing.
That's all that's about. I know.
Yeah. So there's this ballad that they do so well. I want to say there's harder, pointier topics in there too. And of course, Lauren was listening in the car with it when it was playing. Okay, so here, it has shredding, but it is not production worthy at all. It's terribly produced. You put it on your car, you have to crank the stereo to like 52 to hear half of whatever is going. I think they recorded it on one track, and it just, like they did it's not, well, I don't think there's a stereo you could put it on that would make it sound like it was relevant in any one. But
They just knew it was always going to be on the radio, so they just, were like,
yes,
it's fine. It's fine.
Kind of on the same level as Winger,
Yes, yes.
Winger. Where I haven't thought of these names of these bands. Winger.
There's a whole group. There's a whole group in there. You just go, oh no, oh no.
You remember that Kip Winger's brother played in the NHL?
No,
Was he a
was
right
he
winger
hockey
or left
player?
winger?
Goaltender. He's a goaltender.
Oh, of
He
course.
wasn't even a winger.
He was
Nope.
not.
Shame. Probably
Well,
not
that's
welcome at
dumb.
family anymore.
He chose poorly. Deb,
Is what
Oh,
you
all
got.
right. Well, this is kind of lame. I have absolutely no idea why I chose this, other than the fact that I listened to it a lot. Lou Rawls, All
Oh.
Things in Time. I don't know. I just really liked it. It's groovy. That's all I can say. That's a great word for it. It's groovy. It is groovy. Lots of horns, very soulful. And I think maybe one of the reasons that I ended up listening more so was Lou Rawls actually had a little bit of an acting stint. So he was on shows like Big Valley, and I loved Michael Landon in Big Valley. And
Oh.
he'd had a little like side gig on Mannix. Remember Mannix? You guys are
Yes.
probably not old enough.
Mannix, right?
Mannix.
You know how I know that?
Mannix.
Because my grandmother has
Loved
that
it.
shit blasting at the house at my parents. And I'm
Still?
like, oh yeah, that's still on today.
Oh. Well, he also was on the Muppets. He had a little thing where Lou Rawls came in and sang on the Muppets. And I don't know, it's just every time I hear it, it just reminds me of the 70s and Lou Rawls. And that's really all I know about him. So I can't give you any more. I don't know if he's alive. No, I think he died. Probably because he would be pretty old. I think he
Wow,
died in
that's a little bit grim.
2006.
If
Something.
your grandma's still watching.
Well, no, well, Mannix is long gone, yeah, but
Oh, Mannix is gone.
Mannix is, just so you know how old Mannix is, it's not in color, but it's sort of in color.
Color. You
Crimson
know,
color.
when they put that on the front of the screen in Technicolor.
Yeah.
It's technically not
Technically,
color.
it's in color. You can't tell.
Use your
So-
imagination.
Okay, move along from mine because that was lame,
Haiti
but
Potato
that's what I got.
Brown.
Sepia.
Alright. Well, this can be short and sweet because I don't know what to really say about it other than timely, but the Nutcracker Suite, Tchaikovsky.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
What
perfect.
what's that?
It's so sentimental and good.
Is it?
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah.
on. See, I like the music, but then when you go see it, you're like,
But I'm talking about the music.
oh yeah, this way.
Yes, that's right. That's right, Sue. Keep to the topic, Mark.
It's not a guilty pleasure. I have no guilt here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and I love it. But it's just something that I guess people don't think to put on, but they should.
Yeah,
Yes, they
like the whole
should.
putting on the whole record. I don't think of that. You're hearing sections of it or something, right?
No,
I know you have the whole CD, but most people it's a snippet of it.
They
you know?
should all do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
Okay.
doing it wrong. Tell
You're
you.
doing it wrong.
Yeah,
you're
you
not-
gotta listen to it.
You have to immerse yourself in it.
If you're not
It's a
listening to
whole-
the whole Tchaikovsky, you're doing it wrong.
But it's a
I
whole
mean, and
story.
maybe the buffalo, like it's Christmassy here. I don't know. It's just magical.
Yes, I
Magic.
agree.
I
I
like that.
agree. Everybody secretly likes that, Sue. You're the
They
only
should.
one. You're the only one saying it out loud right now. So don't waver from your truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Wish we
Those
could all be as brave as you.
Got your back.
I love that though.
But,
Jeff Young.
So I picked an artist who I really didn't even ever hear until years after he was dead.
Welcome
But
to my artistic
got a
taste.
lot of songs that were very good, and I feel like I always heard them on the radio. So I went with one of his greatest hits albums. It was a second one that was posthumously released following his death in '73 on an airplane crash in Louisiana. It's Jim
Oh,
Croce,
Jim
Yeah.
Croce.
Photographs and
Yes.
Memories, the greatest hits of 1974.
That's
But
good.
just so many great songs, like Bad Bad Leroy Brown, Operator, Time in a Bottle, I Got a Name. Again, something that, my parents could listen to and I could listen to in the car and not yell at each other. But just, I think we didn't die in a plane crash. They'd still be talking about him. I'm sure they do anyway, but he was like, I think 30 or something like that when he passed away. He was
Yeah.
Sounds about
flying in
right.
between two colleges. He had performed at one college. Louisiana
Yep.
was going somewhere else, and that plane crashed upon takeoff. But really good songs.
Yeah, that's
More
a good
more-
album.
Originally started out more folk, but
Yeah.
definitely transcended.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've got
I could see. Go ahead, Everett.
Sorry.
What'd you
I
say,
think
Everett?
I've got what is it? You Don't Mess Around with Jim. It was in the Stranger Things series.
Oh yeah.
And I got the record for that. So I have the record of Don't Mess Around with Jim. That's
Yeah,
always
I
such
have
a fun one.
I now that I know that you love that, when we're in the car later this week or something together, we can put on something and sing it together
Yeah.
and have a
Time in a
Sue, send us
bottle.
video. Send us video.
Time in a bottle.
it's like a movie moment.
Would you
All right.
guys please video that so we can all watch it? You
Like the
guys see
Wayne's
Yes.
World moment.
Perfect.
we can do that.
It'll yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
That's not the song. Everett.
All right, for my third, I am gonna go with a one that I don't know if anybody else really knows this one, and that is Matt Hoget's "Hotter Than Fish Grease."
No.
No idea? Dang. All right.
None.
Well, basically,
No.
imagine you went to the middle of a trailer park in Louisiana, picked some guy out there strumming a guitar, and told him he needed to write an album of songs about his daily life for a show he was doing that night.
Oh.
It's kind of Jimmy Buffett feel. Like he even has some songs where it's like, "Oh please, Jimmy Buffett," like singing to Jimmy Buffett. Like I hope he gives me an album contract, but he's not doing it sitting there like begging him. He's doing it in this like very joking kind of manner. I remember one night like sleeping and I had like woken up in the middle of the night and my music, my radio was on or something. And it was this song came up on the playlist and it was A Bullet in His Earnhardt, which is a story about this guy's girlfriend shooting a bullet at his signed autographed picture of Dale Earnhardt, and just his world is shattered.
Oh.
It is it's just a funny album that you just listen to and you're like, wow, this guy is the South epitome, like your South redneck out in the middle of the bayou condensed down into 1 hour-long live concert.
How did you find this? Is what I'm
I
interested
was
in.
I was listening to just some music on like random like radio play, where you just like press like start play songs like this. And one of his songs came up and I was like, this is kind of funny and weird, but I like it. So I just investigated further and found it.
I think the less I know,
What?
No, that's not.
the less I know, the better.
That's right. It's a weird album, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, we already can tell. Just
What,
We don't
what's
even
the
need to
Hotter
hear
than
it.
fish grease.
What was it again?
the title?
Hotter than fish grease.
Hotter than fish grease. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
It's an
It
odd
sounds like
album.
he
but
should
it's
get
something
together
I
with Ginger Wildheart and make an album.
Who's that?
I cannot divulge that. This is
Oh,
It's
is
a
that a
very-
secret for later?
it's a very, very bad album from a standpoint of it's the most considered one of the most vulgar albums ever made.
Oh,
But
Tell
it's
me
not
about it.
about the vulgarity of like dialogue. It's just disgusting stuff. Like with a
Makes
little
you
bit
laugh.
of gravy. With one of the songs is called "With a Little Bit of Gravy on It." And what the gravy's going on. Yeah.
okay.
Anyway.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving on. Oh, it's me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Jeff, you were gonna do Chef Jeff before you do.
Chef Jeff.
He's
Okay.
he's his number 3, and then you're number 3.
His number 3 is "Flirting with Disaster" by
My God.
Molly Hatchet.
Yes, of course it's Molly Hatchet. They still play at Terry's Corners Fire Hall every year. They do. Kidding.
Yeah, I'll have to tell him maybe if they'll be in town when he's here. But yeah, that was his. Obviously no
Super
explanation.
stickler.
Yep. Okay, so there was a time where I used to go to the club. I didn't go there to dance.
You went to make it
if I
rain.
did,
To make it rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want to go out to dance, but then my wife would say, "Go back. You don't move your
Stop.
shoulders that way." Yeah, you'd have the rhythm of nothing, right? So
Mark, you're
so I
making
was
everyone
the-
else feel uncomfortable.
correct, including myself, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
It
a
was
lane.
some- Yeah, or some white Bill Cosby. I don't know.
Mark.
So I was the designated driver for the events usually. I think Jeff had been there a few times in this, but so we usually we'd watch hockey night in Canada or something. But sure, there was the Macarena, there was the electric slide, there was even some country line bullshit sometimes, whatever, right? But when it comes down to it, Lord knows on occasion there might even have been a Nine Inch Nails song thrown in there. But much further on, little did I know that a larger, more techno electronic rave thing was going on. And I have to thank DJ Jeff DeYoung, who has not joined this show yet. I'm hoping he will eventually, for this dynamite one that I can't put down. This is EDM. So this is the band Knife Party, Abandoned Ship. And this is beats, heavy electronic, and then drops, right? This is in that wheelhouse of Skrillex and those that follow in that same mentality. But I love this record, and every time I put it on, I want to go to the YouTube or whatever to watch their shows, because it's like this sea of madness. Like the minute the people know when it's going to happen, you just see them their waving away, and then and then everybody in the pit and everybody who's out there and wherever they're in a desert or in an airplane hangar, wherever the hell they are, they are with that 1000%, and you're like an amoeba. You have to go along with it. You have no choice. So again, that's the Night Party's Abandoned Ship. It's EDM, and it's usually not my wheelhouse. But I'll tell you what, once I got sucked in, I went down that rabbit hole. So
Interesting. Yeah, that's not like you.
no,
No.
EDM, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who R I. Anyway, back to you, Deb.
All right. Well, this isn't of the norm at all. As most of you know, I have a little bit of a musical background and I was in orchestra, and obviously I have a day job that I'm not going to quit, but this is a soundtrack to a movie that I really loved with Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeves, Somewhere in Time. And the entire soundtrack is all instrumental. There, I don't believe there's a song that there's any lyrics, vocals. It's it's all music that is it's a time travel movie. It's a love move. It's a love story, time travel. So it's very ethereal. There's heavenly feelings towards the songs, but there's a lot of classical feel to it, even though not all the songs were written classically, they were arranged classically. Uh, Rachmaninoff is one of the composers that you can feel in this soundtrack. I love it. I can put it on no matter where because there are no lyrics and it just reminds me of the story was so pretty. The if you hadn't seen it, I believe it was a book, but the movie itself, it took place Mackinac Island in I think it's Lake Michigan near Detroit up in that area. Just the scenery was just so beautiful in the movie. The music goes with it. It's just someplace that I would like to go vacation at. But I would like that music to follow me around
Yes. Yes.
while
Without
I'm
the
there.
music, what is it, right? Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
minstrels and such. But so that's my, and the only reason that's that far on my list toward the top is because I did mine in reverse date order. So it's not really my second favorite. It's just my second on the list for date wise. 1980 that came out.
80? Okay, I was thinking of somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I've always seen the record in the used bin. I've always like wanted to snag it, and then because I don't remember the movie that well.
The movie's good. It's cheesy.
Yeah, well, hey, I love cheesy.
Yeah, cheesy. The cheese.
Sue.
Another short and sweet one, Yahoo Serious,
Oh,
the album 88. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a really funny, weird movie, and the soundtrack's just really funny and unique and talented. So I don't really have much to say about
yeah,
it.
that's a hard one to talk further about. It's just thinking like Ingrid Malmsteen kind of thing, right?
Yeah. It's
There's
fun.
no not like it didn't. I don't really even connect with the song, so to speak. I don't know. It's the whole way that it was presented, I guess.
Australian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
They know how to
Yeah,
make weird, funny movies. Yeah, that's
they
all.
do.
Yeah. The gods must be crazy.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
It's worth a watch and a look,
Yes.
I think.
nice.
Yeah.
Jeff Young.
I picked one from 1984.
Hmm.
Make It Big by Wham.
Wham! That's a good
Wham.
one.
So George
Yes,
Michael,
I definitely am surprised that that's a
Yes.
George
I'm
Michael,
surprised
I
too.
say was
Back
just a
in depth.
guard. Period. If you don't believe me, ask Deadpool. Obviously, Wake Me Up Before You Go, Careless Whisper, Everything She Wants, which actually was also released with Last Christmas by Wham as a double A side. And then it just takes me back to, it came out in 84, but it was really more big, I think, end of 84, beginning of 85. I just remember it more as like a junior high years as opposed to grade school years. But and again, it was something that it could come on the radio and my parents wouldn't be like, turn this off. Like, for me, it was kind of like nothing I would go to the store and buy, but you heard it a million times. And obviously it's because everyone liked it.
Mhm.
It was like, you always heard it if you go into the junior high dance, you were going to hear Wham,
Feel good music. Feel good
Yeah.
music. Yeah. Good choice.
Everett.
He's asleep.
Yep. No.
Okay.
I'm on a couch that's too tall and my legs are hanging off and falling asleep. That's fine.
Oh, that's a personal problem.
We almost ran out of battery.
Oh,
See, that's also a person. No. All right. For my number 4, I decided to go with something a little bit that I think would also fall into Jeff's kind of line of if I started playing this, my parents would be like, "What is this? Please stop it. What is this?" And I decided that I was gonna have to go with American Idiot, the Green Day one.
Nice.
oh, that's awesome.
It was one of more of the first, and it was really kind of like my introduction to the more harder punk sound, or punk sound just generally.
Mhm.
And it was always just one of those things I was kind of like, well, this is fun, Like Holiday is just like, it's got such just like a grooving, driving beat. Maybe not grooving, but such a drive to its beat. And I'm trying to think. Boulevard of Broken Dreams is just one of those where it's like, wow, this guy was really sad when he wrote this. And there's definitely some very good emotion that you can feel in like songs like that. So I'm gonna put that as my number 4 or number 2, depending on, well, my good number 2, I guess.
I like that. And when you say those songs, like I know all the words and didn't realize I know all the words. As soon as you say Boulevard of Broken Dreams, I start singing in my head.
Yeah,
Good job.
it is probably really the best known punk album worldwide, I would
Oh, yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It's their best record. If you did a catalog review, it's so operatic and something you
Mhm.
didn't expect because they're
Well, did you
you know,
know it
it's
was
like-
actually originally meant to be like a play, like a full-on Broadway play,
Yeah.
like a movie or
Oh,
something?
that makes
They did
yeah,
sense.
one.
very well. Say again?
I think they did one, didn't they? They did one.
Yeah, they
Okay,
did.
maybe they did it
I
as a
thought
play.
they did a play.
Maybe
Yeah,
they
made
did.
it to
It was
Broadway.
originally meant to be like a movie, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was a Broadway musical for a while.
Yep, very recently, not too far off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick. So now I'm gonna start sending you punk albums to listen.
I know,
Okay.
really, because Everett
I
and
just got-
Punk. I'm
Yeah, no,
pretty
it's
good.
not something that I like to listen to a lot. It's definitely a once in a while I'll pick it up. We've been talking about punk for like 4 chapters in my college class, and I am ready for
Oh.
it to end.
Okay.
Oh,
Ready
Yeah.
for it to be over. It was great because I took a break. They went 3 weeks of punk, like Velvet Underground, Susie Sue and the Banshees, David Bowie, and then they just took a random turn to disco and funk. It's like Susie Sue and the Banshees, Marvin Gaye.
oh, wow.
It was
That's
a
okay.
weird.
That's fun.
It
It's
was
a
nice.
very
It was a
hard
nice
left
break.
turn.
It was a nice break, though. I'll give it that.
Could always be worse.
Yeah, could have been worse.
Could be
Could have been
Yes.
Christian, rock.
They could make you listen to Somewhere in Time, the soundtrack.
No, it would have been horrible.
Or
Just-
Kraftwerk. Please.
would have been
So
awful.
Jeff, Mr. Johnson, Grateful Dude, his number 2. I remember this was the first album that popped into his head when he talked about this. He goes, "It's Alvin and the Chipmunks, their Christmas album." He's a definite lover of that. Yeah. So
He is not living that down for a while.
no, that is definitely a
I
pleasure
think
of
he's
some.
using chipmunks with the dancing bears, but I'm just gonna say, hey, okay.
Well, we have an album at home.
Oh yeah,
so.
absolutely. We'll be playing it
Mhm.
when he gets in the door.
Oh my God.
It'll be the day after Christmas, all right? That's just,
Yeah, it will be.
okay, so bear with me, not my usual. Okay. So my number 2, I don't think I've ever played a record more from a female artist ever. No, it's not Madonna. The vibrato Vixen Belinda Carlisle and her album Heaven on Earth.
Yeah.
Sure, the Go-Go's were okay, but when solo album hit, I guess my ears were just guilty. You know, I couldn't. There's not a song on this album that is remotely relative. It's not timeless by any means,
It was a fun.
but it has those love elements, a romantic tragedy kind of thing to it. But that unique vocal gift that she has. So she sounds sweet, even though she's delivering a pungent or like an aggressive lyric, whether it's a ballad or that pop rock. So, you know, Circle in the Sand, Heaven, This Place on Earth. And I even have, you know, I have another record of hers that's another story in itself too, but yeah, she certainly was one that immediately came to mind when I first did this. And Lauren got to listen. No, she did. I had my headphones on. She said she couldn't take it. So
You know, I think this particular show, I was waiting to find out what I would be surprised that you listen to. I'm not surprised about any of that.
not
Like
yet.
you're because you're the oh, okay, we're only on round 4.
My number
But-
one was immediate. It was immediate. That's all. Anyway, Deb, it's your number one.
Okay.
Lay it
Okay, well, this particular album and artist, I mean, there's a lot of things about it that I like, other than just him and what those songs mean to me. He collaborated on this album with like Lil Wayne and Kid Cudi, and I think there's a couple other people, but it's Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreak. Um, it's not my normal thing that I listen to. I listen to lots of different things, but this, I don't know, like Love Lockdown and Coldest Winter, and of course, Heartless. Heartless was the song that really hooked a lot of people into Kanye when they didn't know anything about him prior. I think it kind of put him into the place where somebody like me would know who Kanye West was. But I had heard of and liked a lot of, because of my kids, T-Pain, and this album for sure took that whole vocalizing electronic thing that T-Pain did with his music. Kanye took that into this album and used that, and that's where he was manipulating his voice a little bit more. I I wish he just didn't make any more albums after that, or even get on any kind of social media, TV, radio, open his mouth, because I can't stand the man, but I still love this album. So I
Yeah, he
separate
had
the man
he
from
had a
the
good
album,
run.
you
Good
know?
run of albums for sure. That one, not typical for sure from what the previous one was, like Graduation Day or whatever.
Yeah, no, I like this one better. I can listen to this one over and over and over again. And I don't know if there's more songs on it that were more mainstream poppy, whatever, that ended up, being on even a 103.3. I don't know
Oh,
why,
no.
but
Yeah,
I just it's I listen to it. I obviously, when I hear it, it does immediately remind me of the time and place where I was when I first loved it, but it's still I don't go, it's only 2008 music. It still sounds good to me, and I still can listen to it and get enjoyment out of it and feel the same way as I did then, even though it doesn't feel nostalgic. I don't like this album because of nostalgia. I just
No.
like the album for the songs, I guess. So that's my number one, I guess. It's like kind of lame.
Your
Nothing.
last one to talk about it, right?
Yes, there you go.
You.
Just clicked off on my notes. Well, I wanted a footnote to the Bengals, and I think this is true. Manic Monday was written by Prince under a pseudonym.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Interesting.
But my number one is the Rocky Four soundtrack. It's actually a really good album. It's my favorite Rocky movie, and it's a good album to run to and work out to, obviously. But the songs are actually really good, and it's a nice mix of music. There's like a little bit of everything on it. Living in America, it's James Brown. There's No Easy Way Out, Robert Tepper. Burning Heart, and Eye of the Tiger by Survivor, Hearts on Fire, John McCafferty, and there's other ones. There's some instrumentals that are good. So I like it.
Rocky
What year was
Four.
that from? What year was that from, Sue? Because like I had the
85.
tiger.
1985.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that
I had the tiger.
not four? That's the Russian, right?
Yes. that
Yes.
was the option.
All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Ooh, Dolph
I mean, the Eye of
Lundgren
the
or whatever.
Tiger, was that made for this movie or was that something else? I don't know.
I want to say it would had to have been, but
I guess so.
I don't know. That one I don't know. So
But
I would think so.
it's a solid album.
Either that or it was on the prior one and they just played it
Well,
again.
that's what I was thinking. Because they have 2 songs on the album, so maybe they just carried it over. But
Maybe. Well, when you got something that good, keep going. Just play.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the remix.
Yeah,
Young,
good choice.
number one.
I only picked this last one for one song on the album, one track. I think there was only like 7 or 8 tracks on it. And I didn't even know the name of the album until I looked it up for this show. It's from 1983, and the only track I ever knew off it, Rocket, which is Future Shock by Herbie Hancock in 1983. And the only reason I picked it was because Rocket, for me, was
yeah,
me and my friends in grade school, and we were all into breakdancing. We were
I
into-
knew that.
We
Wanna
totally
see
were.
you do
We were.
it.
We were in the talent show. We even did talent show at the junior high, not even just our own school, and we were better than the junior high kids. And
Do it.
Song
Yeah,
that
we
I-
need proof, man.
Give us a move. Give us a move.
We need proof.
Jeff's iPad, do it.
maybe it's the party.
Darn.
I'm gonna play that when you come
My
in.
phone
Right after
charged
Alvin
up.
and the Chipmunks.
Right.
Herbie Hancock has some very odd song. Yeah, his albums are really bizarre sometimes.
But that was the song we did it to for our talent shows. Like me and
I
Violet.
love that. That's a, oh, God.
Oh my, wow.
When I
Okay,
was
Wow.
a lean 30-pound kid, I could actually do the moonwalk and stuff like that. Now I'm too heavy, I can't do it.
Yes, you
things,
can.
things,
It's all in the
things-
socks.
things to put in your
Yes,
memoir.
okay.
It's all in the socks and how bad the traction on your shoes is.
Yep,
Yeah.
you can do it. You can
Everett,
do it.
you're number one.
All right, for my number one, I decided to pick one that was a little bit of a nostalgia trip, a bit of a hallmark of my childhood, quote unquote, the one that I'm still in. And that would have to be the Phineas and Ferb album, Across the Second Dimension.
I love Phineas and Ferb.
I love Phineas and Ferb. That was the cartoon I grew up watching. I've had others that I've come through and I've loved, but that one is just always the ones of me wasting my summer sitting there watching it for longer than I should have. And the movie came out, and I was like young enough when the movie came out that we didn't know the movie came out, but later on we watched the movie and we just love that movie. That's just one of those that occasionally you'll just watch. And the songs on it are great. Phineas and Ferb to me is like one of the most underrated soundtracks ever because they have a
Mhm.
song per episode, and there's like 4 seasons of like 20 episodes per season. And most of the songs on them, save for a couple, are like, this is fun. I like this. And Across the Second Dimension was no exception. They've just they have a couple of, and then not all the songs are from the movie. Some of them are not from the movie, but they have like some like really kind of like rockin' ones where you're like, wow, I could totally see this being, from the 80s if it wasn't for the fact that it's talking about souping up an alien spaceship. And
The
the
There
one
was
that I think
alien
is,
spaceships in the
backyard.
80s.
that's true, but souping up, in modern day. And I think the like what is it, Kick It Up a Notch or something actually has Slash from Guns N' Roses playing on the lead guitar. And that video is just great because it starts with him just walking in, plugging it in, and then getting immediately animated into Phineas and Ferb land. And it's just a great album. I could listen to that album on repeat for like 2 weeks and only slightly want to bash my head in after a little while.
Slightly. Good. That's good.
My character on Disney, the service is Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah, that's right, it is.
So,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
It's on
I just want to know,
HBO Max
where's
too.
Perry?
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
Jeff,
Apparently they're coming out with a new season soon.
I haven't watched all the episodes, but also on a note of that, one of the writers is from Lockport, New York.
Oh, nice.
Really?
There is an episode where they say they're bored or something like that. Yeah, let's get a mighty taco. That's right.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I'm
Nobody
like,
knows what that is.
then I had to look out, right? What?
It's a pretty funny show though. I
Go
like it.
ahead. So Jeffrey, his pick as the Grateful Dude is none other than Thriller by Michael Jackson.
He likes it. Really? I love
Yep.
it.
He says
Jeff
there's
will
not
surprise you.
not a bad song on that album. It's completely listenable all the way through.
Awesome. It is.
All right. So I had about 5 or 6 others or those kind of things, but
Okay, come on,
this
shock
one
me,
was
shock me,
this,
surprise
this
me.
one was immediate. I kind of wondered whether my wife would just immediately go, well, I know why we're doing this show. So this was no joke of an album. He didn't intend it to be, nor did he want it to be. And he did co-write some of the tracks on the album, along with Tom Petty had an original track on here. He and guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan is on this record.
Come on.
Dweezil Zappa is on this record. Bonnie Raitt is on this record. And the person who knew pretty much that he could sing was Barbra Streisand. This is Don Johnson's Heartbeat.
I cannot stop.
I love that record. I had a Miami Vice thing, and when this guy's gonna put out a record, I'm like, well, this is probably gonna suck. But when the single came out, I'm like,
You had a Miami Vice thing.
well, yeah, the way I dressed, everything was all.
He was obsessed.
Well, look at him
Yeah.
now, Sue.
Yes, I've completely fallen apart since then. So it's a pop rocker with smudgy ballads. It's an underrated vocal, but it's also underscored because it's all sang in a lower register, how it's delivered. From every track in it, that's the tempo he arranged and had to be in, but it works. This album sold 500,000 copies. I don't think it sold 500,000 copies because, it's a critical darling. It sold 500,000 copies because of who he was when that was going on, right?
Yeah.
And
of course.
but I still put that record on. You were saying somebody said something? I missed.
Did Don Johnson, since he was already rich, did he buy them all?
Yes, he did.
No, Melanie Griffin bought them
families
all.
out there.
Yeah.
All his families at the
So
record
that's
store.
my number one.
I might have had that on cassette tape too. I probably bought it just because I like Miami Vice too.
Yeah, and it's nothing
That's
like that.
funny.
It's some ballads that can't take your memory, and in actuality, the second album that was called Let It Roll, I think, came out and it didn't do as well, obviously. But when they re-released Heartbeat, they put some of the tracks on there that were on Let It Roll that had one of them was a beautiful track and really well done, and they added that on there, so there was like a new version of it. So that's my number one. As always, I thank my panelists for doing this favorites show. We're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear those songs that you kind of don't let anybody know about, or you secretly enjoy, guilty pleasure, if you will. Because in that list, sometimes we go down that and take a little listen. I mean, I'm doing the Phineas and Ferb thing right after we get off the show. Can we watch that? It's on. It's on.
Me
Telling you right
too.
now. All right. Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching, and happy listening.
Thank you.